You all for joining us today for the 1 hour SAP Clean Core webinar. Before I'll hand over the presentation to Elad, I would like just to give a few words about Elad and about the situation here. Mr. Elad Goldman, known as Goldie, is our partner. He's a seasoned SAP expert with deep and unique knowledge of SAP latest methodologies, technologies, and strategic roadmaps. As a core member of the original SAP activation team, Elad plays a key role in shaping the modern implementation approach now used worldwide. His expertise spans both the technical and strategic dimensions of SAP transformation, making him a trusted advisor for organizations navigating the shifts to S4, HANA, and beyond. One small note before I hand it over to Goldie. Due to the situation here, since we might have alarms for some rockets, I hope it will not happen in the next 45 minutes. But if it will happen, and we will need to stop the recording, then we will need to reschedule it for another time. Okay, so I apologize in advance if this may happen, but we have, of course, no control over it. Goldie, please feel free to take over and start. And I believe more people will join as you begin.
Okay, so hi everybody. Everybody can hear me well? Perfect. So as Omar said, regarding the alarms that we might hear out here, so it's important for you to understand that we usually have 5 minutes in advance. So we will know, and you will not just see us running. We will know that there is something happening, and we will notify you. Okay, so it's probably not going to happen, but just for you to know. So today we are here practically to discuss what is Clean Core, what are the new SAP ways, where SAP takes the market, why they do that. By the way, this is the most important question. None of the people in the market are really talking about why SAP are doing it, and it's important to understand that. So we will talk about all of that. We will explain exactly what Xcon is doing differently and how we do it differently, and where is the partnership with Dpro is getting into effect regarding everything that we do. So before jumping into that, let's talk a little bit about myself. So as Omer already said, my name is Goldie. No one calls me Elad, not even my mother. So in the past 20 years, I'm working on the SAP world. Started as a project manager in some of the local SIs in Israel. Then I moved into SAP, started as a program manager in SAP. After that, I was the head of delivery of SAP in some of the countries in the European region. Later on, I was part of the team that created several important stuff that SAP are running into market currently. One of them was the idea of Clean Core, and the second one was the current methodology of SAP. Okay, I was part of the team that built Activate, so I'm very familiar with what SAP wants to do and where they want to take their system and their customers. Almost more than 10 years ago, I left SAP and became a freelance in the beginning. I managed some of the largest programs in the world. And after that, I created Xcon along with my wife. And practically we built Xcon, and not because we wanted to, because SAP asked us to. Okay, they approached us and told us, guys, we need something different in the market. You are the guys to do that, and this is exactly what we did. And one of the most important things to know about us is that we are extreme sports enthusiasts. We are doing everything that you can think of. We are jumping out of every cliff that you can imagine, out of any airplane that you can feel that is appropriate. Both us and our children, you can see all of our children here, all of them are doing everything, and it's pretty crazy, but this is who we are. We are crazy people, and we are taking this craziness from our personal life into the professional life, and we are bringing the extreme sports into the SAP world. Okay, now it's a very nice slogan, but it's not only a slogan, it's the real world for us. Okay, Xcon is a company that brings the extreme sports mindset and the extreme sports values into the SAP world. Okay, so like we wrote in our manifest in 2023, you can see we are not just another consulting firm, we are the adrenaline pumping, thrill seeking daredevils of the SAP world. And we really mean it. Okay, we really do everything in that approach. Sometimes it's a little bit weird for people to understand, but once you understand it, you understand that you are capable to do things that you cannot do if you are not going in that direction. So Xcon is built, it doesn't move. Okay. Excuse me for the internet connection. Xcon is built out of three main divisions. Okay, we have a consulting division, a project division, a solution division. In order to bring all this mindset into the world, we needed to create a new DNA of a consultant. Okay, you are all very familiar with SAP consultants. Most of them worldwide, by the way, are pretty much the same. Our are very different. Okay, so what do we mean when we're saying a different DNA? So we are practically, if this guy here represent our consultant, so he's being break into three dimensions. So his body is representing the methodologies of SAP. His head is full with all the clean core approaches that we are feeling over there all the time. He has unique tools because no extreme sport athlete can do anything without special tools that he need in order to do that. Okay, so our major tool is Insights Up, and this is the connection between us and Dpro, and this is why we are so different in the SAP world. So when we are connecting all of that together, we are having a very, very different experience of consulting in the SAP market. So what is this Insights App that is connecting all of us? I believe that most of you are very aware to some of the things, but I will try to explain why is it so important for us and how do we utilize it in a very, very different way in order to bring this value into the market. So Insights App is a must-be used solution. It doesn't matter whether you are before, during, or after the upgrade. By the way, we will talk about upgrades in a little bit, but you need to understand it's a no-code platform that practically can replace 95% of all the development types that you have. Okay, I'm putting aside for a minute forms. Okay, forms, it's not really related to that, but all of the rest, when you are changing the mindset of how you implement SAP, you can utilize this platform in order to do it in a very, very different way. And this is exactly what we are doing. It lives inside of your SAP production, so it's very, very easy and fast. And it's the ultimate clean core. I will explain in a minute why. One of the most important things that was for us is that it's SAP certified. As I said earlier, as someone that was born and raised in SAP, I wouldn't be able to tolerate anything that is not SAP certified. And as long as it's already certified, both for a NetWeaver or RISE or S4, whatever, it's certified for all of those dimensions. So it's good for us and we are ready to go. I will not deep dive to this slide, it's just a hint, okay? It's been created out of three main modules that when you are combining them together, you can do end-to-end business processes by changing your implementation mindset, of course, but you can really do end-to-end processes, which is groundbreaking, okay? It's doing everything in a very different way. So practically, we are here in order to resolve the main pain points in the SAP world. Okay, let's count them. So the first one is long development cycles. Everybody are very aware of that. We all feel it in every project. Every time that you want to develop anything, you need to think twice, right? And I was the guy, okay, and I was certified to do that, okay. I was the guy that was running throughout of all the market in Europe and saying to everybody, guys, don't develop anything. You don't need to develop. Go to the best practice. SAP are not selling, you know the statement, SAP are not selling software, they are selling knowledge, business knowledge, right? This is the main slogan that we were saying all the time. But what we forgot that each and every one of the customers is a little bit different. And when we are looking at the customers, we understand today, SAP understand that they cannot really live up to the best practices as there are, and they need to develop themselves in order to be able to live up with the system, right? Okay, so this is one of the main pain points that we have until today. The second main pain point is that the system is not really upgradable, right? Okay, in opposite to my iPhone here, that I can upgrade in 12 seconds, okay, and it's just being upgraded. It's not really the case in the SAP world, and we will talk about it later on. Did anyone ever feel that the UI of SAP is poor? Raise your hands, guys, because it's really the shittiest UI in the world, right? Now, SAP did a huge leap forward with Fiori. Okay, when they bought Fiori, it was a huge leap forward. But Fiori, as everything in SAP, is very, very tricky. You need to redevelop. You need to create the Fiori apps. And it really doesn't change the UX. It only changed the UI. It is an issue, right? Okay, so let's put it as a pain point as well. And the last one, and maybe today it's the most important one, SAP is not a ready for AI system. Okay, it's a very old system that was created in 74. And as we all know, as much as it advanced, it's not really in the mode of AI. Okay, it's not a new world. So there are some solutions, we will talk about them later, but it's not what we wanted to feel. All of those put all the CIOs in the world in a very tricky situation. They are providing very bad service to their end users. And everybody pretty much frustrated with the CIOs, right? No one is really happy with the SAP team. I know tons of SAP customers. I've never seen a customer that when you're going to the end user, you say, yeah, I love the SAP team. They are great. They are giving me everything that I want. It's the best experience in my life. Okay, so we want to help in that perspective, and we want to solve all these problems. So we want to bring fast delivery. We want to bring something that is fully AI capable. The UI must be Fiori or UI5, doesn't matter, it's practically the same, okay? And we need to do Clean Core in order to be able to operate the system fast and smart and cheap, okay? So let's go one by one to understand exactly how we do it, okay? So if we're talking about the pace of the delivery, so if we look about a regular cycle of development, so it always starts here in a business requirement, and then it moves to the budget, and after that you need functional specification and technical specification and development, unit testing, integration testing, UAT. Jesus Christ. It's not really livable, right? You cannot really do it. It's a huge headache. So the way that we are doing it, it's totally different. Think about the situation of a consultant that take his laptop, go to a CFO, ask him, what do you want, Mr. CFO? Pressing some buttons, and that's it. The CFO has what he wants, okay? So we are practically taking the cycles that can take up to 6 months per delivery, and we are shortening them to a day, hours, sometimes minutes. Okay, so this is something that we are doing in order to make our delivery cycle faster and smarter. Now let's talk about AI because you cannot really talk about anything currently without talk about AI. Okay, so there are two major ways to do AI in the SAP world. Okay, the first one is inside of SAP, what SAP called Joule, and the second one is outside of SAP. So let's talk a little bit about the problems in each and every one of them. So when we are talking about the SAP solution inside of the system, Joule, so I don't know if you are aware of that, but SAP are making you develop an agent for each and every one of the business processes. Okay, and it's crazy. Okay, it's not something that it's doable. Okay, you have tons, you have thousands of business processes in the system. You cannot really maintain agent for each and every one of them. Not talking about the cost of that, and not talking about the requirements that you need to develop it by yourself or to download it from the SAP store. It doesn't really matter. Anyhow, it costs a lot and it's not really valuable. The second way to do it, it's outside of SAP. Okay, but when you are outside of SAP, you need to extract the data into some cloud, okay, into OpenAI or into Google, or whatever. You still need to provide the data, okay? It's 2026, guys. No one wants to provide this data. It's really, really problematic. The second thing is the real time. Okay, all those solutions that are outside of SAP, they are near real time. They're not real time, but who the hell wants AI which is not real time, right? I mean, we want it to be real time. It must be real time. And the last and most important thing is the authorizations issue. Once you are outside of SAP, you don't have the SAP authorization mechanism to guard you. Okay, so if someone will ask what is the salary of the CEO, you will get an answer. But this is less problematic. Think about someone that will ask what are the payment terms for each and every one of the customers that you have. Okay, this is more problematic, right? So we understand that it's not really valuable and we cannot do that. So when we are using Insights App as our AI layer, we are providing to the market all those things inside of SAP. So it's very generic. You don't need any development in order to have these agents because they are not there. You live up to the insights that you already built. Uh, you don't need to send anything to the cloud. Everything is real time because it's inside the system. Of course, the authorization is over there. And as much as I know, Dror and Omer, correct me if I'm wrong, but as much as I know, it doesn't cost a dime more than what the basic Insights App cost, right? It's in the package. Okay.
Correct.
Yeah. So it's another added value. What we practically can do with AI over there, we can do two main things. It's the Gen AI and the Ask AI. Gen AI, it's more for the consultants. Our people are using it very, very massively. Whatever they need to build, they are asking the AI to do, and it just does it. It's crazy, guys. It really is crazy. And the Ask AI is for the end users. The end user can ask whatever they want. They can even initiate activities within the system, create a purchase order, do, I don't know, whatever you can imagine they can do in the system. We're just writing text. So it changes the UX of SAP, and it's really the way that it needs to be. Now let's talk a little bit about UI. Okay, so everybody are familiar with this report, right? It doesn't seem very, very clear here, but this is ME2N. Okay, ME2N, everybody loves it, right? No, not really. Everybody developed Z ME2N. Okay, no one really uses ME2N, though it's a great report. It's a great report because the data here is very, very, very accurate. It comes from SAP, but still no one is using it. Everybody developed themselves, and we are using it as a UI. Okay, and this is something that is very important. I said it's a different implementation mindset, and this is a key main point that you need to understand. We are using ALV as our UI for everything in the system. So when we are taking this ME2N, for example, we can do a lot of manipulations on it in order to make it do whatever we want to do. We can do, for example, transfer orders. We can, whatever you can think of, okay? Each and every one of the activities that you are capable of doing in your system, you can do it from this ME2N. And it's not ZME2N, it's still ME2N, okay? We just influence it in some way. We will show it in a second, okay? So it is changing entirely the way that you are approaching the system. You can do here practically whatever you want. Everything that you can think of, you can do within this report or ALV, or call it however you want, okay? But the main important thing is that in one press of a button, everything becomes Fiori, okay? So this is a huge differentiator, because when we are going to our customers, we are bringing Fiori always, okay? And it's very, very important, because personally, I cannot tolerate SAP GUI anymore, okay? So please be with me on that, okay? We need to change it. Now, we are all here in order to talk about Clean Core. So let's talk about Clean Core. First of all, I want to say that all the customers in the world are facing what you see in this slide, okay? Everybody are standing here in front of this idiotic cliff that they need to climb, okay? And they don't know why, they don't know how, and they are not sure that they are capable of doing that, okay? So this cliff calls S4HANA, okay? SAP just put it there, and they told everybody, you need to climb it now. So let's understand exactly what happened and why is it the situation, okay? So all the SAP customers in the world are very, very heavily invested in their SAP, right? They're invested tons of time, money, knowledge, whatever they wanted to do, they did in SAP for plenty of years. The Germans came and said, very, very roughly, until 2027, with a blink of an eye to 30, you have to upgrade your system. Now, I want to help. I told you earlier that I am SAP. So I want to help them. I want to explain, because they are doing it very, very, very badly. I want to explain why SAP are doing that. One thing that we need to understand is that SAP are investing 6 billion euros every year in innovation, okay? It's 30% of the revenue of SAP, okay? And they are investing it in innovation. Now, opposite to Apple, when the Apple they want to put some innovation into the market, 95% of the market after a quarter already embedded the new innovation of Apple, right? This is the numbers. In SAP, after 3 years, 1% of the market utilize the innovation of SAP. Now, SAP understands that it's not really valuable. They cannot live like that, okay? It's 2026. They cannot live like that. So they became, as they know to do very, very well, they became very aggressive. And now they are pushing everybody into a situation that they will be able to upgrade and to acquire all the innovation that SAP are providing to the market in a more flexible and easy way. So let's say that this upgrade is something that is very expensive. Okay, we will not put numbers here, but it's usually around $1.5 million. Okay, this kind of an upgrade for a large enterprise. And the most important thing, that there is no business value from doing this upgrade, okay? And it puts all the people in the market, all the CEOs and the CIOs, in a huge headache. And they are very upset with SAP. And I hear daily, I hear CEOs that are telling me, look, you are a very nice guy. We have no problem with you, but we hate SAP because they are making us do it, okay? So this is the situation that they are feeling. Now, if we will take the technical upgrade that everybody are recommending to do, it practically says, take your ECC, invest tons of money, and get pretty much the same in a different color, okay? It will become S4HANA, wow, okay? What no one is saying, and this is very important to understand, okay? It's becoming a repetitive activity. Now let's talk about it for a second. SAP changed their support model so dramatically that now they are supporting only 2 versions back. I don't know if you are aware of that, okay? Customers that are already in S/4HANA 1809 lost the support of SAP in the end of December. Okay, there are tons of customers in the world that they are already in S/4HANA and they lost the support. They have to upgrade. So all the customers are going into a new reality that in that reality they will have to upgrade the system every other year. It's crazy. I don't see how anyone is capable of doing that. Okay, even if it will not cost the amounts of money that we talked about, even if it will not take a year and a half, but it will take only a quarter. Who can go to his CEO and tell him every other year, I'm going to an upgrade that will take me a quarter and will cost me, let's say, $100,000, okay? No one will do it. It's a very, very problematic situation. So after understanding that, we can understand that if Clean Core is the solution, and I'll explain in a second why Clean Core is the solution, but if Clean Core is the solution, we have to be Clean Core. It doesn't matter where you are in your life cycle of the system. It doesn't matter if you are before, during, or after the upgrade. You have to approach the Clean Core and you have to become Clean Core. Otherwise, you will be in a very, very problematic situation in 2 years from now. Okay. So what is Clean Core? Okay, let's talk about what it is. So I told you in the beginning that I was one of the people that invented the idea of Clean Core. So I have to say that it's a great idea. Okay, I have to say that, but it's very, very hard to implement. Okay, and as SAP are doing everything, SAP did it even harder to implement. And let's try to understand exactly what it says. So in the left side of your screen, you see a regular system in the way that it looks, okay? You have standard capabilities that SAP provided with the standard, and you have custom code, okay? For each and every one of the customers in the world, this is the situation. They developed, they have these custom codes, like you see here, and these custom pieces, they are the problems when you want to upgrade. Why? Because SAP are changing stuff in the database layer, okay? So each and every one of these developments are related to something in the database. When SAP changes something, everything is breaking, okay? So what practically Clean Core is saying, let's move to a different situation. Let's keep our situation very, very clean, okay? Let's keep only the standard within our new system, our S4. But we understand that you have to have a lot of customizations because otherwise you will not be yourself. So all those developments that you need to have, put them somewhere else. Now, where to put them? This is the main differentiator between us and SAP. SAP tells you, put them in the BTP. What BTP is? BTP stands for Business Technology Platform. It's a crazy idea by SAP. It's great, really. It's a great idea by SAP. 98 services that are providing currently. Some of them are crazy good, some of them not that good, but it's exactly the direction that SAP are taking the market, and for a good reason. This is exactly where it needs to go. One of the services that I are providing with the BTP called Build. Okay, what is Build? Build is practically an ABAP stack that you can do whatever you want over there. You can develop in ABAP. Okay, so SAP are telling you, take all of your developments and put them in the BTP. Okay, it's a little bit problematic. Okay, it's not that easy. And let's see what are the main 3 problems with that approach. First of all, there is no transport mechanism at all. Okay, you need to redevelop everything. Everything that you need to put in BTP needs to be redeveloped. Okay, think about the investment. It's crazy. The second thing, the complexity of developing within the BTP it's much harder than what you are used to do today when you are develop ABAP in your system, okay? Put aside that you don't really have resources in the world that knows how to do that, but let's put this aside because they will learn. But the complexity is so dramatically harder that it makes it not really valuable. The third thing, as everything that SAP does, it's very, very expensive. Now, SAP invented a new currency. They are not calculating in euros anymore. Okay, the new currency called capacity units. Now, by the way, this capacity units currency is very, very related on the customer. Okay, because they are putting in the calculation a lot of customer related points. For example, what is the revenue of the customer, stuff like that. Okay, anyhow, it's becoming very, very expensive. Now, think that you need to buy more and more and more capacity units as much as your BTP becomes bigger, okay? So it's becoming a huge investment. The OpEx is jumping 5 times, okay? For everybody that are moving from the old system to the new system, they are multiplying by 5, okay? It's crazy. The OpEx, so it's a real problem. Not only that, because we already agreed that you have to be clean core, I'm here to announce very sadly the death of the ABAP coding as an approach. Okay, you cannot continue to develop yourself as you did in the past because once you developed, you are not clean core. Okay. Second of all, everything that you are developing, you need to redevelop and redevelop and redevelop because every time you are changing something in the business process or the regulations are being changed or something like that, you need to redevelop, right? You need to go and to check in the code, whatever you did over there, you need to redevelop. And the last thing is the crazy TCO, total cost of ownership on each and every one of the lines, the code lines that you already developed. Let's see that. For example, I wrote a code line, okay, for I don't know whatever you think of. So I first paid on the coding itself. After that, I paid for the maintenance. After that, if you remember, several years ago, SAP came with the Web Dpro. Move everything to Web Dpro, right? You remember that? Okay. After that, they came with the Fiori. Guys, you have to be Fiori. Develop everything into Fiori apps. You have to do it. It's changing the world. Do that. And now they're saying exactly the same about the BTP. And tomorrow they will have new curse to curse us with and to ask us to redevelop it. So it doesn't stop, okay? It's exponential and it's continue to cost more and more and more and more for each and every one of the lines that you already wrote. Another issue, I'm sure that all the SAP customers that you are familiar with are looking like him, as handsome as he is, and they are smiling like he does, and they have these fireworks. But even if they are not like that, they know how to already work with their system. So to go to those customers and tell them, guys, leave the developments, go to the SAP best practices. Okay, we know better than you how to run your company. This is what SAP said for many years. Okay, it's not really applicable for none of the customers, especially not for the large enterprise. They know exactly what they need, they know exactly what they do, and due to the fact that they already have SAP, they know what they want. Okay, you cannot bullshit them. So how do we take them and move them into the top of the cliff, even smiling in the end? Okay, so this is how we do it after understanding all the problems. So let's talk a little bit about architecture, just to understand where we are using a different approach when utilizing Inside SAP. So in a regular SAP development, okay, you have the SAP application layer, you have the database, it doesn't matter if it's HANA or something else, and you are coding here, okay? Everything that you are coding is between the application layer and the database, okay? So every time that SAP are changing something in the database, you need to go and to redevelop your new application, right? Because it needs to be correlated. What no one is talking about, and it's crazy, I don't really understand how, but no one is saying that when SAP are changing something in the database, SAP are obliged to redevelop themselves in their standard application, right? If we're talking about the ME2N that we saw earlier, so when SAP changed the database in the movement to HANA, okay, they changed ME2N, the standard one, so it works. So, for example, if just think about the situation that all the system was standard system without any Z transactions or reports or anything. So practically, what we are doing with the iPhone could have been done in SAP, right? So you could have do a very, very, very smart and quick and very, very cheap, by the way, upgrade. Okay, because you just run a script and you have the new solution. But the problem, as we said earlier, is the problem of the Z. Okay, when you have Z, you have an issue. We are doing it in a different approach. We do not develop anything anymore. Okay, so if this is the application layer and this is the database layer, inside ZAP is sitting here on top of the application. As I said earlier, we're using ALV as our UI in some way. Okay, but we are providing only instructions. Okay, everything that we are doing, everything that we are developing, okay, in quotes, but it's not really developing, everything is only instructions. While doing that, we are maintaining a clean core out of the box. Okay, everything that we are doing is clean core because we are not running a single line of code. Okay, it needs to be very, very clear to everybody. So doing that can aim us to two very important targets. The first one is to always be future upgrade proof. So every other year when we have to upgrade our system, it will be very easy. And second one is to be SAP innovation proof. We want to be able to acquire all the innovation that SAP are providing to the market, right? It's very important. So there are three ways to do that, okay? The real world. There is the brown field, there is the green field, and it's the blue field. I believe that I'm not giving you anything new here in the topics, right? But if we will dive in, we will understand that people are misunderstanding the approaches. So the brownfield is not what everybody speaks about. Brownfield. Brownfield is Apple, is iPhone. Okay, it's the SaaS model. It practically means that we want to take whatever we have today, we want to run a script, and then we want to have it in S4. Okay, in a second. It's not really doable, but this is where I want to put my customers. I want the future upgrades to be in the SaaS model. I want it to be brownfield, real brownfield. Okay. Today they cannot do it because it's disregarding the technical depth that they have, right? So let's agree that it's not very realistic in the current situation. Now let's move to the greenfield. The greenfield is the best model there is. Okay, there are very, very large companies that are doing that. NVIDIA, for example, they are going now for a greenfield. They are erasing everything that they did during the years in SAP, and they are doing greenfield. Okay, so what is greenfield? Greenfield is starting from scratch. It's taking all the SAP best practices to embed all the new SAP processes that the SAP invented throughout the years. It's to do a back to standard activity, to use Inside ZAP or other tools in order to have Clean Core, and only then to go into the S4 upgrade. Okay. Now, it's a great approach, but there are some problems with it. First of all, it consumes time, it consumes money, it costs a lot of money because it's to start the project from scratch. Okay, I'm not even talking about the effort, but I will talk about the change management. It's a huge change management leap for companies to tell their people, okay, we invested tons of money in our SAP throughout the years. Let's scrap it and start from scratch. Okay, it's very, very problematic for most of them, and therefore it is also not very realistic. Okay, and it leaves us with the blue field. So the blue field, I call the blue field the even better model. Okay, so what it practically says is that we need to do a very, very, very massive system analysis and to identify what are the business processes that are in our scope for this project, then only on them to do the back to standard activities and the clean core, as I said earlier, okay? And only after that to move into the S4HANA. Now, while doing that, you can really focus on bringing business value, okay? On living up to the new requirements that comes from the business, on living up to the new SAP standards, Clean Core, for example, okay? There are others, by the way, okay? And the most important thing is to utilize SAP innovation. So this is valuable, okay? And this is what we want to do with the market. And this is exactly what we are pushing the market in towards to. Now, in order to do that, we had to invent a new methodology. And we call it in the very, very catchy phrase, Xcon pre-upgrade and clean core methodology. It's very catchy, right? Who can forget that? But let's see what it's exactly saying. Okay, so the first phase, we are calling it the prove phase. Okay, you first need to prove. Then the second phase is the assess phase. And then there is the planning phase. And only after the planning, you are going to the clean phase. And after the clean phase, you will go to the upgrade itself. Okay, now the beautiful pictures doesn't tell the story. Okay, so let me try to elaborate a little bit about each and every one of the phases. Okay, so what is the proof phase? So you heard this lecture. Everybody heard this lecture that I just telling it to you right now. Okay, but I think that we need to prove the concept. Okay, because people in the SAP world are very used to work in a certain way, and it's very problematic for them to understand exactly what we are saying here. Okay, so we need to prove it. We need to make them understand that it really works and really are doable for their organization. How we do that? So we are choosing 4 scenarios, 4 massive scenarios. We're telling them, give us scenarios that usually take you to develop 4 months. I don't know, each and every one of them. We are delivering all of them in 4 days. Okay, guys, it's science fiction, right? It's not something that anyone can really think of when we are talking in the SAP world. Okay, so we are delivering in 4 days, 4 end-to-end scenarios. Okay, that way we already proved the capability. After that, we're going for an assessment. Now, you can tell me, hey, there is the regular assessment that SAP are telling everybody to do, right? SAP call it the readiness check. You heard about it probably. So one thing that we need to understand about the readiness check is something that is looking only on the database changes, okay? It ignores all the rest of the problems that you have. For example, API changes, Z objects. It doesn't look at the standard assets that SAP provided, the new one, okay? So it's very, very shallow. And we believe that it needs to be way more technical. We need to understand exactly what is the scope of this project, okay? So once we identify what is the real scope of the pre-upgrade project, okay, we take it into the planned situation. Now, in the planned situation, we are dividing it to 4 groups. Okay, each and every one of the scope items is being divided into 4 groups. The first one is deletion. Okay, you don't need it anymore. Why? Because SAP provided a new standard. Because you already changed your own way of behavior, or because I don't know, the regulations change. I don't know. Okay, but there are a lot of things that we identify for deletion. We don't really need to focus on them. The second one, and this is my least favorite one, it's the ones that we need to redevelop the ABAP inside your system or to fix the ABAP. Okay, so we want them to be as minimal as possible. The third one is the most critical ones that you want to maintain the SAP way of doing things, but you need to redevelop them, and then we will do it in BTP like SAP suggests, okay? But you know how we divide between the ones? We call it complexity, but it's not what you think of complexity. It's not a technical complexity. Our complexity is a change management complexity, okay? We are always looking from the change management aspect. So practically, when I'm facing a huge development, okay, I can do, as I told you, everything. I can do everything with Insights Up, but not always the end user will be able to live with that, okay? Sometimes there are end users there that they are, sorry for the French, they are pain in the ass, okay, and they don't really want to evolve, and those people needs to be directed in a very certain way. So for those people, we will redevelop in the BTP, and we will wait the 2 or 3 years until they retire because they're usually old, and after that we will move it into the Insights App. Okay, so the fourth category is what we want to recreate, not redevelop, but recreate within Insights App in a very, very fast way. Then we go to the clean project itself. Okay, we are going very methodological into each and every one of the groups and fixing them. It takes time, but it takes way less time than a regular upgrade project. And once we did that, we are ready to do the upgrade project as SAP are telling you to do that, but you are doing it very smarter, very faster, and way, way cheaper than what it's supposed to have to cost. Okay. So in this way, in my perspective, we are crushing the upgrade from ECC into S4. Okay, now think about what I said earlier. Guys, it's something that's going to be repetitive each and every other year. It's crazy. We have to do it in this way. I don't know any other way in the world that can put you in the situation that you are upgrading a real brownfield from now on. Okay? So when we are doing that, we are making SAP upgrades, as I said, smarter, faster, and cheaper. And we are practically solving most, if not all, of the SAP headaches, okay, that most of the people are suffering from. Okay, so these are the pain points that we are solving in our approach. These are the way that we are doing stuff. And in this point, I will stop the presentation and I will thank you very much for listening, and we will open it for questions. Okay, so the floor is yours, guys.
Thank you very much. Everybody is overwhelmed, Goldie.
Please, Thomas, yes.
I have a question. Hi, guys. Well, as we know, this everything regarding Clean Core is about to 2025, right? Version. Because almost is implementing 2023 because it's more easier, it's not the state of the art. We have a lot of things, let's say like this. Everybody walked the path before, but this is the standard right now here, at least in Mexico. We are doing Mexico and Latin America going to 2023. Then, in that case, we can do brownfield or greenfield or bluefield. Depends about the evolution of the project. In my opinion, and that this is one real thing that because many other, let's say, projects are not really going to 2025 version, then if we say, do we need to go to the clean core right now? Not indeed, right? Not indeed. This is the reason, as you were talking about. This is very clear for in your presentation. By the way, very good presentation. My congratulations. And then for me, this has been a topic when I spoke with my clients regarding Inside SAP, to say more even in 2023 version, we are free. We don't have any stopover or something, because they are not, it's not the same with the 2025, right?
I have to disagree, Thomas. In my perspective, it doesn't really related to version. Okay, so the idea of Clean Core is here to solve the main problem that you have, because even if you will go to 2025, okay, and you invest tons of money and you will bring your client into 2025, so in 2 years they will have to move to 2027, and then they will suffer another issue. Okay, it won't be as large as the issue that they are suffering now from moving from ECC into 2025. I agree, but they will still have problems from each and every one of the developments that they already have in the system. So taking this under consideration and understanding that SAP are becoming so aggressive that they will make you upgrade the system each and every other year. So you need to understand that you have to do Clean Core regardless to what version you are picking. So even if you are going to 1809, okay, you have to do Clean Core. Now there are a lot of customers in the world that started with SAP S/4HANA. Okay, that their greenfield was with SAP S/4HANA. And now they are suffering massively when they need to upgrade from S/4HANA to S/4HANA. Okay.
Yeah, I know that. Yes, exactly. Yes.
So taking this Clean Core approach and making all the SAP consulting team focus on the SAP Clean Core approach, then it will resolve the problem of moving from version to version each and every other time.
Well, that means that if, for example, we have a company that migrate from ECC to S4 on premise, there are a lot in the US right now, with a bunch of big brownfield, pick and lift or lift and pick, whatever is the mention of the investment that they did in the developments, because they have a lot of $1 million there.
Mm-hmm.
That means that we need to think about that, how to prepare them for a migration from wherever they are in the on-premise to go to the cloud, thinking always in RISE, in private cloud, right?
Absolutely.
Then I like how you presented what is the way to use Inside SAP, and what is the level of the layers, because we need to work a lot explaining the companies what is happening in the future, because you mentioned it. SAP is being more aggressive year by year to short the time to get the upgrades, because it's money for them. That is
Exactly.
the thing. Then we need to be more involved with the big guys to see in the future, in even not in the big future as we used to do it in SAP, what happened in the next 5 or 7 years. Remember? No, this is not. This is what happened in the next 2 years or 3 years, no more. Then what is about the investment of anything, and then convince them that what is the way, whatever they are going to decide, because this is on to them, if they go to 2023, 24, 25, whatever, but how to present it inside SAP in the way that you are mentioning. For me, that is the objective, to see how to conduct them in order to understand, and I like it how you present it. And yes, that's true. When we do above developments, it's a very good business, by the way. It's a very good business, but at the end of the day, all this, the steps and the timing, even for one piece of above develop, is that what happened in the future, as you mentioned, is not going to be any more useful for the client. Then, sorry for standing many times, but this is for me the core of this: how to present inside SAP and all the back office things around this, because it's their publisher and many other things for the workflows, and there are a lot of things that we have this structure to present to the business how to avoid these problems, and even take Clean Core. Yes, we can do it, but in this way.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Any last questions before we conclude today's session?
Jess, yeah. Goldie, I have a very simple question, maybe. I represent a very big company. We are something like 20 years live, and we starting to make the first move to the migration to S4. And I want to ask if you know or if you can evaluate what will be the effort to migrate to Clean Core, a company that have something like 2,000 developments, and not always simple one. Some of them very elaborate, and not most of them, most of the critical ones are fair. I think not based on reports or something.
So I will say two things. The first one is that, as you are very know better than me, that it's important to do analysis to your company in order to understand what are these exactly scope items that we need to do. But putting aside the politically correct, I can tell you that you have one misunderstanding that we need to clear here. It's not related to whether it's regarding reports or not. Okay, the report is a UI for me. Okay, so within the report, I do operational stuff. So if today your people are not used to work like that, we are changing the way that they are working. Now, while doing that, we are capable of doing massive things in a very fast way. So I believe that you did some kind in your company, you did some kind of assessment, the readiness check of SAP with one of the integrators or something like that. Probably our project will take third of the time that they are presenting to you. Third of the time, 30%.
Okay, thank you.
I think we have to end. I mentioned this in the beginning. We will send recordings of this webinar to all the participants, whoever, of course, wishes to receive one. Any last minute things before we conclude? Any last minute remarks or from anyone?
For any other questions that you have, feel free to approach me directly, and I will provide any answer that you need.
So thank you very much for everybody's time. Well, we're glad to have you, and we hope that you got some value from Elad's expertise. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Omer. Thank you. Bye-bye.